Welcome to my channel. Hit the subscribe button and tune in daily for fresh news stories. The night is chilly, and the stars above twinkle indifferently as I arrive at the softly lit gymnasium. The distant thrum of music seeps through the walls, hinting at the fun and laughter within. Tonight is meant to be a celebration, a dance that my wife, Emily, has been eagerly anticipating. I park the car, step out, and head towards the entrance, expecting to find her among the crowd, lost in the evening's rhythm. As I push open the heavy doors, I'm met with a sea of dancers, the colorful lights bathing the room in a lively glow. I scan the crowd, searching for Emily's familiar face, but she's nowhere to be found. As the minutes tick by, a sense of unease begins to creep in. I decide to ask around, hoping someone has seen her. "Hey, John." I call over the music, catching the attention of one of Emily's friends. "Have you seen Emily?" John, a bit tipsy, shakes his head. "Not for a while, man. Maybe she went outside for some fresh air." I nod, forcing a smile, and head toward the exit. Outside, the cold air nips at my skin, but there's still no sign of Emily. My unease grows, something feels off. I decide to check the gym's quieter areas, hoping she might have slipped away for a brief moment of solitude. The hallways are deserted, their silence a stark contrast to the festive chaos just beyond. My footsteps echo as I pass darkened classrooms and storage closets. Finally, I reach the coach's office. The door is slightly ajar, and a faint light spills into the hallway. I hear hushed voices from inside. Curiosity piqued, I edge closer, my heart pounding as I peer through the gap. My breath catches, Emily is inside, but she's not alone. Coach Williams, a tall and imposing figure, stands next to her, holding a violin. Emily's laughter fills the room, genuine and carefree, as she clumsily tries to play a tune. "Like this," Coach Williams says, guiding her hand on the instrument. Their faces are close, and there's an intimacy in their interaction that sends a chill down my spine. "You're a natural," he murmurs, his voice low and smooth. Emily giggles, her cheeks flushed. "You're just saying that." "No, really," he insists. "You're talented, Emily." A surge of anger and betrayal floods my veins. How could she? How could he? My mind races with thoughts of revenge, but I force myself to stay calm, bursting in now would achieve nothing. I need a plan, something that will ensure they both pay for this betrayal. I retreat quietly, leaving the two of them unaware of my presence. Back in my car, I sit in the driver's seat, gripping the wheel tightly. The gymnasium's music is a distant hum now, my mind focused on the task at hand. I need to gather evidence to expose this affair in a way that will leave no room for denial. The next day, I start my research. I dig into Coach Williams' background, searching for any skeletons in his closet. It doesn't take long to find something. A few years ago, he was involved in a scandal at his previous school. Nothing was proven, but rumors of inappropriate relationships with students had circulated. I decide to use this information to my advantage. I begin to document every interaction between Emily and Coach Williams. I take photos, record conversations, and even manage to obtain a copy of their email exchanges. The more I gather, the more certain I become that this will end disastrously for both of them. Finally, I compile everything into a detailed report, complete with photographs and transcripts. I send it anonymously to the school board, knowing it will ignite a firestorm. The next few days are tense as I wait for the fallout. Emily senses my distance but attributes it to stress from work. Then the news breaks, Coach Williams is suspended pending an investigation, and Emily's name is dragged through the mud along with his. The shock on her face when she sees the headlines is almost satisfying, almost. That evening, I confront her. She sits at the kitchen table, her eyes red from crying. "How could you?" I demand, my voice shaking with a mix of anger and hurt. "Michael, she begins, but I cut her off. "Don't," I say sharply. "I've seen everything. I know everything." Her face crumples, and she buries her head in her hands. I'm sorry, she sobs. I never meant for this to happen. Sorry? I laugh bitterly. You think sorry is going to fix this? She looks up, her eyes pleading. What are you going to do? I'm done, Emily, I say coldly. Pack your things and get out. I want you gone by tomorrow. She nods, tears streaming down her face, and slowly gets up to start packing. As I watch her go, a part of me feels a pang of regret, but it's quickly overshadowed by the satisfaction of knowing that justice has been served. Coach Williams's career is in tatters, and Emily is out of my life. The betrayal still stings, but I've taken control of the situation. As I sit alone in the now silent house, I wonder what the future holds. But one thing is certain, I won't be the one left picking up the pieces this time. The next morning dawns gray and dreary, matching the heavy atmosphere in the house. Emily is gone, her side of the closet is empty, and the house feels strangely silent. I push away the pang of loneliness and focus on the day ahead. There's no time for regret now, I have to go to work and keep moving forward. At the office, the whispers start almost immediately. Colleagues glance my way, their eyes full of curiosity and pity. I ignore them, burying myself in paperwork. My friend and coworker, Sam, approaches my desk, his expression concerned. Hey, Mike, he says softly. You holding up okay? I force a smile. Yeah, Sam. Just trying to get through the day. He nods, but I can see the doubt in his eyes. If you need to talk, you know where to find me. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. The day drags on, each minute feeling like an eternity. At lunch, I find a quiet corner in the cafeteria, hoping to avoid more pitying looks. As I sit down with my sandwich, my phone buzzes. It's a text from Emily. I'm sorry for everything. Can we talk? I stare at the screen, my heart heavy with conflicting emotions. Part of me wants to ignore her, but another part is curious. What could she possibly say to make things right? After a moment, I type out a reply. Meet me at Joe's Diner at 6. The rest of the day is a blur, my mind racing with thoughts of the upcoming meeting. When 6 o'clock finally rolls around, I head to Joe's Diner, a small, cozy place where Emily and I used to go for breakfast on weekends. The familiarity of the setting brings a lump to my throat, but I push it down. Emily is already there, sitting in a booth at the back. She looks up as I approach, her eyes red and puffy. I slide into the seat opposite her, the silence between us thick and heavy. Thank you for coming, she says quietly. Get to the point, Emily, I reply, trying to keep my voice steady. She takes a deep breath. I know I messed up. I never meant to hurt you. I don't know what I was thinking. I scoff. You weren't thinking clearly. She flinches but nods. You're right, I wasn't. But it's over now. I ended things with Coach Williams. That doesn't change what happened, I say, my voice hard. You betrayed me, Emily. How am I supposed to get past that? Tears spill down her cheeks. I don't know. I just wanted to tell you that I'm sorry, and I wish I could take it back. I shake my head, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. Sorry isn't enough. It's too late for that. She reaches across the table, her hand trembling. Please, Michael, give me a chance to make things right. I pull my hand away, the touch too painful. There's nothing left to say, Emily. We're done. Her face crumples, and she nods slowly. I understand. I just wanted you to know. Without another word, I stand up and walk out of the diner, the weight of our broken relationship pressing down on me. As I drive home, I wonder if I'll ever be able to move on from this. The next few days pass in a haze. The news of the scandal spreads like wildfire, and the school board announces a full investigation into Coach Williams' conduct. Parents are outraged, and students whisper about the affair in hushed tones. One afternoon, I'm called into the principal's office. Principal Harris, a stern woman with sharp eyes, greets me with a nod. Mr. Thompson, thank you for coming, she says, gesturing for me to sit. Of course, I reply, taking a seat. She leans forward, her expression serious. I understand that this situation has been difficult for you, but I need to ask you a few questions about your interactions with Coach Williams and your wife. I nod, my stomach twisting with anxiety. I'll help however I can. She proceeds to ask me about the timeline of events, my knowledge of the affair, and any evidence I might have. I recount everything, from the night I discovered them to the evidence I collected. When I finish, she looks thoughtful. Thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Thompson, she says. We're committed to ensuring that justice is served and that our school remains a safe environment for everyone. I leave the office feeling drained but somewhat relieved. At least the investigation is moving forward. That evening, I receive a call from an unknown number. Hesitant, I answer it. Hello? Mr. Thompson, this is Detective Jones with the local police department. We're looking into Coach Williams' past conduct, and we understand you might have some information that could help us. I sit up, my heart pounding. Yes, I do. What do you need? We'd like you to come down to the station tomorrow to provide a statement and any evidence you have. This could be crucial for our case. I'll be there, I say, my voice firm. The next morning, I head to the police station, my mind racing with thoughts of what could happen next. Detective Jones, a tall man with a serious demeanor, greets me and leads me to a small interrogation room. Thank you for coming, Mr. Thompson, he says, taking a seat across from me. We appreciate your cooperation. I nod, feeling a mix of nerves and determination. I just want to make sure he pays for what he did. We understand, he replies. Let's start with your statement. For the next hour, I recount everything in detail, providing copies of the emails, photos, and recordings. Detective Jones listens intently, occasionally asking questions for clarification. When I finish, he nods appreciatively. This is very helpful, Mr. Thompson. We'll be in touch if we need anything further. As I leave the station, a sense of purpose fills me. This isn't just about revenge anymore, it's about making sure that no one else falls victim to Coach Williams' manipulations. Back at home, I decide to reach out to some of the parents and students who might have had encounters with Coach Williams. If there are more victims, they need to come forward. I start with a few discreet conversations, and soon the floodgates open. Stories pour in from students who felt uncomfortable around him, and parents who had their suspicions but never had proof. Together, we compile a list of testimonies and send them to the school board and the police. The media catches wind of the growing scandal, and soon reporters are camped outside the school, eager for the latest developments. Coach Williams is officially terminated, and the investigation intensifies. One evening, as I'm sifting through more testimonies, my phone rings. It's Sam. Hey Mike, he says, his voice tense. You need to see this. He sends me a link to a news article. I open it, my eyes widening as I read the headline, Coach Williams under investigation for multiple allegations of misconduct. The article details the various accusations, including some from years ago that were swept under the rug. The school board is facing backlash for their handling of the situation, and there's talk of a complete overhaul of their policies. I lean back in my chair, a sense of grim satisfaction washing over me. This is far from over, but at least now the truth is coming to light. As I close my laptop, I feel a renewed sense of purpose. This battle isn't just about me and Emily anymore, it's about ensuring that justice is served and that no one else suffers at the hands of a predator. The road ahead is uncertain, but one thing is clear, I'm not backing down. Not now. Not ever. The media frenzy surrounding the scandal with Coach Williams shows no signs of slowing down. The school board is in turmoil, the community is outraged, and I'm at the center of it all. The weight of the situation bears down on me, but I push forward, determined to see this through. One morning as I sip my coffee and scroll through the latest news updates. My phone buzzes, it's a message from Detective Jones. Detective Jones, Mr. Thompson, we have some new information that you need to see. Can you come to the station today? I reply immediately. Me, I'll be there in an hour. I arrive at the police station, my mind racing with possibilities. Detective Jones meets me at the entrance and leads me to a conference room where several files are spread out on the table. "Thanks for coming, Michael," he says, motioning for me to sit. "We've uncovered some additional evidence that could be crucial to our case against Coach Williams." I sit down, my curiosity piqued. "What kind of evidence?" Jones opens one of the files and slides it over to me. "We managed to track down a former student who had a similar experience with Williams years ago. She was too afraid to come forward back then, but with the current investigation, she decided to share her story." I read through the file, my anger growing with each word. The student's account is disturbingly similar to what Emily experienced: grooming, inappropriate behavior, and manipulation. The more I read, the more determined I become to ensure that Williams never has the chance to harm anyone else. "This is solid evidence," I say, looking up at Jones. "But is it enough to put him away?" Jones nods. "With the testimonies we've gathered and the corroborating evidence, we believe we have a strong case. However, we need to keep digging, there may be more victims out there." Just then, a knock on the door interrupts our conversation. A young woman enters, her expression nervous but resolute. Jones introduces her as Lisa, the former student who came forward. "Michael, this is Lisa. She's willing to share her story with you," Jones says. I nod, feeling a surge of respect for her bravery. "Thank you for coming, Lisa. Your courage is going to make a huge difference." Lisa takes a seat, her hands trembling slightly. "I just want to make sure he can't do this to anyone else," she says, her voice wavering. "Can you tell me what happened?" I ask gently. She takes a deep breath and begins to recount her experience. As she speaks, the room fills with a palpable sense of shared determination. Her story is heartbreaking, but it also strengthens our resolve to bring Williams to justice. After she finishes, I thank her again and promise to keep her updated on the case. She leaves looking lighter, as if a burden has been lifted from her shoulders. Jones turns to me. "We need to keep gathering evidence. Every piece of information we can find will help build a stronger case." I nod, my mind already racing with ideas. "I'll keep talking to the parents and students. There has to be more out there." The following days are a whirlwind of activity. I meet with parents and students, collecting stories and piecing together a disturbing pattern of behavior. The more we uncover, the clearer it becomes that Williams has been a predator for years, using his position of authority to exploit vulnerable students. One evening, as I sift through the growing pile of testimonies, my phone rings. It's Sam. "Mike, you need to see this," he says urgently. He sends me a link to a video. I open it, my eyes widening in shock. It's a recording of Coach Williams from a few years ago, giving a speech at a school event. But it's not the speech that catches my attention, it's what happens afterward. Williams is seen talking to a young student, his demeanor friendly but with a hint of something darker. The student looks uncomfortable, glancing around nervously. This could be the break we need. I say, my heart pounding, "Who recorded this?" "A parent who had concerns about Williams. They never came forward until now," Sam explains. "They saw the news and decided it was time to share what they had." I forward the video to Detective Jones along with a brief explanation. Within minutes, he responds. "Detective Jones, this is exactly what we need." "Thank you, Michael. We'll follow up on this immediately." The next day, I receive a call from the school board. They want to meet with me to discuss the ongoing investigation. When I arrive at the meeting, I am greeted by Principal Harris and several board members. Their faces are grim, reflecting the seriousness of the situation. "Mr. Thompson, thank you for coming," Harris says. "We wanted to update you on the investigation and discuss the steps we're taking to address this issue." I sit down, feeling a mix of anticipation and anxiety. "What have you found?" Harris clears her throat, her expression grave. We've confirmed multiple instances of misconduct by Coach Williams. The evidence you provided, along with testimonies from students and parents, has been instrumental in building our case. One of the board members, a middle-aged man with a stern demeanor, speaks up. We're committed to ensuring this never happens again. We've already begun implementing new policies and training programs for staff to prevent future incidents. I nod, feeling a sense of relief but also a lingering anger. That's a good start, but what about Williams? What happens to him now? Harris exchanges a glance with the board member before answering. Williams has been officially terminated, and the police investigation is ongoing. Based on the evidence, we believe he will face criminal charges. The news brings some relief, but it's not enough. I want to make sure he never works with children again. I say firmly that he needs to be held accountable for everything he's done. We understand, Harris says, and we're doing everything in our power to ensure justice is served. As I leave the meeting, a sense of determination fills me. This isn't over yet. I need to keep pushing, keep uncovering the truth until Williams is behind bars and everyone he's hurt has a chance to heal. Over the next few weeks, the investigation intensifies. More victims come forward, emboldened by the growing support network. The community rallies together, demanding justice and sweeping changes to the school's policies. It's a time of upheaval but also of hope as people come together to support each other. One evening, as I'm going through some old files, my phone rings. It's Emily. "Michael, I heard about everything that's happening," she says, her voice trembling. "I just wanted to say that I'm sorry for everything." I take a deep breath, the pain of our past still raw but tempered by the progress we've made. "I appreciate that, Emily, but we're both moving on now. It's time to focus on the future." She pauses, and I can hear the regret in her voice. "I understand. I hope you find some peace. Take care," I say, ending the call. As I sit back, I reflect on the journey so far. It's been a difficult road filled with betrayal and heartache, but also with moments of courage and resilience. The fight isn't over, but for the first time in a long while, I feel a glimmer of hope. We're making a difference. We're uncovering the truth, and together, we're building a future where people like Coach Williams can't harm anyone else. With renewed determination, I dive back into my work, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead. This battle is far from over, but I'm prepared to see it through to the end, for the victims, for the community, and for myself. The days blur into weeks as the investigation against Coach Williams intensifies. The media coverage reaches a fever pitch, and the community rallies together like never before. Victims' voices grow louder, their stories echoing through the halls of justice. Amidst this storm, I find myself at the center, driven by a relentless need to see justice served. One afternoon, Detective Jones calls me to the station for an important update. His tone is urgent, and I can sense something significant is about to unfold. When I arrive, Jones is waiting for me in his office, a grave expression on his face. "We have some new information," he begins, gesturing for me to sit. "And it's big." I lean forward, my heart pounding. "What is it?" Jones opens a file on his desk and pulls out a photograph. It's an old picture of Coach Williams with another man. This is Eric Dawson, a former colleague of Williams from his previous school. We recently discovered that Dawson was involved in a similar scandal, but the details were buried. I frown, trying to piece together the connection. What does this have to do with our case? Jones takes a deep breath. We believe Dawson and Williams were working together, covering for each other to avoid detection. Dawson disappeared a few years ago under mysterious circumstances, and we think Williams might know something about it. The implications are staggering. So you're saying there's a chance Dawson is still out there, and Williams might lead us to him? I ask. Exactly, Jones replies. But we need solid evidence to tie them together. We've set up a sting operation to catch Williams off guard and get him to reveal what he knows. The plan is risky, but it might be our best shot at uncovering the full extent of Williams' crimes. I agree to help, knowing this could be the breakthrough we've been waiting for. The operation is set for the following evening. We choose a secluded location near the outskirts of town, away from prying eyes. Jones and his team brief me on the plan. I'll confront Williams, pretending to know about his connection to Dawson while they monitor the conversation from a distance. As dusk falls, I arrive at the designated spot, my nerves on edge. Williams shows up a few minutes later, his demeanor smug and confident. He has no idea what's coming. "Michael, what do you want?" he asks, annoyance flickering in his eyes. I take a deep breath, summoning all my resolve. "I know about Dawson, Williams. I know you two were working together." His expression falters for a split second before he recovers, a sneer spreading across his face. "You don't know anything." "Oh, but I do." I press, stepping closer. "The police are on to you. It's only a matter of time before they find Dawson Williams." His confidence wavers, and I can see the gears turning in his mind. "You're bluffing," he says, but there's uncertainty in his voice. "Am I?" I challenge. "Why don't you tell me where he is? Maybe then you can cut a deal and save yourself." For a moment, I think he might crack, but then his expression hardens. "You think you're so clever, don't you? But you'll never find him. Dawson is long gone, and you'll never get the truth." Before I can respond, there's a sudden commotion. Williams' eyes widen in panic as police officers swarm the area, guns drawn. Jones steps forward, his expression triumphant. "Coach Williams, you're under arrest for multiple counts of misconduct and conspiracy," Jones announces, his voice ringing with authority. Williams struggles, shouting profanities, but the officers quickly subdue him. As they lead him away, Jones turns to me, his expression a mix of relief and satisfaction. "Good work, Michael. We got him." The sense of victory is overwhelming, but there's still one more piece of the puzzle to solve. Over the next few days, the police intensify their search for Dawson, following up on the leads we gathered from Williams' interrogation. The breakthrough comes when they discover a hidden safe in Williams' house containing documents that lead to a remote cabin in the mountains. The police raid the cabin, and to everyone's shock, they find Eric Dawson alive, though in poor condition. It's clear that he's been hiding out for years under Williams' control. Dawson's testimony is the final nail in the coffin, implicating Williams in a web of crimes far more extensive than we ever imagined. The community's reaction is one of disbelief and relief. The truth is finally out, and justice is being served. The school board implements sweeping changes, ensuring that such a scandal can never happen again. As for me, the sense of closure is bittersweet. Emily reaches out again, hoping for reconciliation, but I realize that our relationship is beyond repair. We agree to part ways amicably, each of us seeking a fresh start. One evening, as I relax on my porch, contemplating the journey, Sam arrives with a couple of beers in hand. "You did great, Mike," he says, passing me a bottle. "You made a real difference." I take a sip and respond, "It wasn't just me. It was all of us working together." "Even so," Sam says, "you were the driving force. You never gave up." As the sun dips below the horizon, bathing the town in a warm, golden light, I feel a deep sense of tranquility. The struggle was intense and prolonged, but in the end, justice triumphed. Though the scars of betrayal remain, they've also made me more resilient and stronger. The true surprise isn't just the revelation of Dawson or the extent of Williams' wrongdoing, it's the realization that, despite the pain and struggle, I discovered a renewed sense of purpose and a commitment to doing what's right, no matter the cost. In this, I found hope and redemption. As the stars start to sparkle in the evening sky, I lift my bottle in a silent toast, to fresh starts, to justice, and to the unexpected turns life brings our way.